Our countdown to kickoff coverage is continuing, and we're heading out to New Orleans with Kristian Garic of WWL. He is the Saints sideline reporter. You know, it has been an offseason full of bounties and suspensions. Obviously, Sean Payton not going to be on the sidelines for a full season. Jonathan Vilma most likely will not be there as well. Will Smith suspended 4 games. How exactly has this team come together with all these huge absences from the roster?
Well, I mean, if you didn't know any better, you would think that Sean Payton was still in the building, still kind of operating this team. It looks much like it did last year, minus a couple of those faces that you pointed out in terms of the players in the locker room, but and certainly at the head coach. And you know, it's been a tumultuous offseason for this football team and this organization when you consider those 2 players that you mentioned, and Will Smith and Jonathan Vilma being gone from the team, and of course, you know, not having their head coach along with their general manager for 8 games and their interim head coach, and Joe Vitt being suspended for 6 games. So a pretty significant blow dealt to this franchise, but nonetheless, they're not sitting around feeling sorry for themselves. It's business as usual. And you know, Drew Brees has taken on an even more significant role as a leader on this team. And you know, I still think, despite all of this, they're still one of the main threats in the conference, and maybe even a 10 or 11 win football team.
Reading a lot of Rich Eisen's excerpts from his podcast and on the Times-Picayune, he still thinks that this team could be a double-digit win team, and he still has a lot of confidence in them, mainly because of their depth at running back. I mean, Chris Ivory, Pierre Thomas, Darren Sproles. I mean, this team is stacked at running back. Would you say that this is their biggest strength on the team?
No, their biggest strength is quarterback, to be honest with you. But you know, it's a great luxury to have that many running backs. And they were in a position in 2010 when they went to Seattle in the playoffs in the wild card round and lost that game. They were on their 9th running back of the season. I mean, they had been just decimated with injuries at that position, and they have since then never allowed themselves to possibly be in that situation again. And really kind of padding the numbers. And they do a great job in this organization of stockpiling talent, not just at running back, but at receiver. I mean, they've got a guy in Adrian Arrington that's been on the roster since 2008 in practice squad and up and down from the, you know, on the active roster. But he's been with them since 2008 and hasn't been able to crack the roster crack the lineup because of all the talent that they have, they had at that position. And now, with Robert Meacham's departure to San Diego, it's given Adrian Arrington an opportunity to play, and they just reload. They know how to stack a roster and who to keep and who to cut, and they're really adept in the front office and in the pro personnel department and college scouting. They know exactly how to construct a team.
What about the new head coach, Aaron Kromer? What has he brought to this team, at least until Joe Vitt returns?
A sense of belief, you know, unwavering dedication. He's a future head coach, I think, in this league, in Aaron Kromer. I think, you know, he'll be a head coach, have a team of his own one day. He's widely respected in that locker room. He commands a room when he walks into it, and the players certainly believe in what he's about. And really, if you think about it, for Aaron Kromer, the job is, hey, look, just follow the blueprint that has been laid out to you by Sean Payton over the last 6 years. And I think that's what he'll do for the 6 games that he is in charge. And then it'll be Joe Vitt, who really kind of, you know, he's the assistant head coach when Sean Payton's here anyway. And he really kind of, you know, just he knows this program inside and out almost as well as Payton. So that's why I don't think it'll be as big of an impact as some people maybe in the national media might be making it out to be, simply because they didn't bring somebody in from the outside. They didn't bring Bill Parcells in or John Gruden for that reason, because they didn't want to have somebody trying to almost install their own program. They wanted somebody that was familiar with how they already do things, and you know, they've been highly successful. They've won more games over the last 3 years than anybody in the NFL, so they believe in what they've got going here.
Rich Eisen thinks, again, that this team could be a double-digit win team. The over-under is set at 10 wins, Kristian. What do you say to that?
I think that's about right. I have them pegged at right around 10-6, 11-5. I think that's more than possible. And look, if they get a couple of breaks and, you know, if things go their way, I could see them repeating of last year, a 13-3 kind of season. You know, I think anybody who thinks that this is just going to be an 8-8 team, you know, I think is making a sore mistake or a sad mistake, just because I think Drew Brees gets you a lot of those wins, and I think the defense is going to be improved under Steve Spagnuolo.
Kristian Garic, the Saints sideline reporter for WWL, thank you so much for the time, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks a bunch.